some of the financial news, right, which seemed to be a pretty good guide for the current quarter, but maybe a disappointing release date, didn't seem to hurt the stock too much.
No, we'd reported, going back almost a year, there would like to be delays because of the lack of OLED. There are only a handful of factories in the world which make organic light-emitting diode displays.
Look at you, that's what you use the acronym and you actually know what it means.
There we go, yes. And this had created some delays, and that was expected going into the quarter. The forecast for this quarter, the one we're currently in, that ends at the end of September, was that the forecast that Apple gave did not necessarily include the sales which will come from the top-line iPhone. Analysts and investors were relieved that other parts of the business, the iPhone 8, which has been released and will be coming this quarter, and then things like services, were able to prop up, or likely to prop up earnings in place of the lacking iPhone 10.
A little technology trivia from an old man here is that OLED was invented by Kodak. And they completely failed to benefit from this fantastic invention that their great scientists created, but managed to have to license it out and eventually sold a lot of those patents. Well, but I think what's interesting here, and the question remains, you know, Kodak, once a great innovator, lost its way. Has Apple regained some of the notion of Apple as an innovator, or are these phones being criticized, just rightly so, as copycat stuff?
There is stuff which other people already have. The OLED is already in Samsung phones. It's been in Samsung phones for a number of years. The front-facing 3D scanner, that's not in any phones yet. That is an innovation. It's actually technology which a lot of it is kind of off the shelf, and Apple's fine-tuned the software element. The thing that is really interesting is what Apple is doing in chips. It's very much under the hood, geeky, wonky stuff, but it's the sort of thing which drives the ability to bring software innovations, and therefore they can update iOS 11 and going forward iOS 12, but that means that old phones become updated, and you and I as the consumer are forced to buy the latest handset in order to get the latest software updates.
And they're not handing over the profits to chip makers as all the computers did to Intel, and as the phone makers have done to Qualcomm, the phone makers except for Apple.
And that's why we're starting to see increasing tension from with people like Qualcomm, and they've cut out a number of suppliers. Imagination Technologies announced earlier this year that they were losing Apple as a customer. We saw yesterday Apple announce its own graphics processing unit, GPU, this chip which is used for gaming, for games in iPhone. So the more that Apple brings in-house, the more pressure they're putting on their chip-making suppliers.